Hello and welcome to episode 80 of the Confessions of a Yarn Addict podcast. Today I have something I've finished and I have a new cast on, which I wasn't expecting to cast on this week. And I've got some news about some workshops and some other things. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. My name is Anniken. I design knitting patterns. I teach knitting workshops online and in person, and I sell yarn through our website yarnaddict.co.uk. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. You can find the link to sign up to my newsletter below this video, as well as all my social media links. I am now on Instagram, Twitter, Threads, Blue Sky, TikTok, and I have a Facebook group called The Love of Lace Knitting. Those are all the places I am at the time of filming this. What sticks, we will see. I will definitely stay on Instagram and my Facebook group, so do check that out. All the links are below this video. So welcome to another week of the podcast. This week hasn't quite gone to plan. I have finished something. I finished my... Did I finish that last week? No, I finished that last week. Last week I finished a project I've been working on for a few weeks. It was a deadline for a magazine, and I knew I had to work on a design submission for a magazine and knit some swatches for that, which I did last Sunday. I'm recording this on a Tuesday, I think. Yes, Tuesday. So last weekend I was teaching at the Knitting Hotel in Dawlish in Devon. I have a little tiny clip. I was there for 2 days and I filmed about 16 seconds. I did take some photographs as well, but I filmed about 16 seconds, 15 seconds maybe, of videos. So I'll show you that now. I had a fabulous time at the Knitting Hotel. I spent 2 days with a group of 8 really nice ladies, and we did beaded lace knitting. They all did fantastic. Some of them had done lace knitting before, some of them had done beaded lace knitting before, some of them had done a little bit of lace knitting before, some of them had done not so much lace knitting before. I think there's only one person who hadn't done any lace knitting before. So they all did fantastic, based on their previous experience, if you like, and I really enjoyed spending 2 days with them. It just feels like such a privilege to spend all that time with them. We are currently looking at dates for 2025. Dates for 2024 are already out, and we are now looking at dates for 2025, which is just absolutely crazy. But if you're interested in workshops or weekend retreats at the Knitting Hotel, they're in Devon, in Dawlish, on the coast in Devon. The Knitting Hotel has beautiful sea views, and I think all the bedrooms have sea views. It's an amazing place. Belinda, who runs it, is really lovely, and everyone who comes there, as far as I know, seem really happy, and most people, if not everyone, comes back. One of the ladies who was there was telling me that she's coming back either later in the year or early next year, I can't remember, with a group of people that she met there last year maybe, and they've all decided to come back again at the same time, and they've all booked together as a group. And I've heard that a few times, that people would like to come back together as a group. Another lady, she'd been there 3 months in a row now. So it is a really lovely place. I haven't been asked to say this, but after having spent 2 days with them, I just want to give them a little bit of a plug. So I'll put the link below. If you're interested, contact Belinda at the Knitting Hotel. I'll put the website below, and then you can go there and find her email address and email her for information. I would imagine most workshops for this year, or most weekends for this year, are booked up. Not all weekends include a workshop. Some are what they call getaways, where you just come and chill and knit or crochet or do whatever you want for the weekend. But I think possibly a lot of next year is probably booked up. I don't know whether it's fully booked yet. And she's been asked for dates for 2025. So do contact her. Do get on her cancellation list if you are desperate to go, because she does sometimes get cancellations. She had a cancellation for one of my workshops in the autumn, and somebody from her cancellation list snagged that spot. So do make sure you get on her cancellation list. Talking about workshops, I'm also teaching workshops in October in Liskeard in southeast Cornwall. We're about 20 minutes from the Tamar Bridge from Plymouth, 25 minutes maybe, depending how fast you drive. Say 30 minutes from Plymouth, that sounds better. So, and there is a train station in Liskeard, and we're on the main line through from Plymouth through Cornwall. So we're fairly easy to get to. There is a group of knitters. Most of them go to my old knitting group. I haven't been to the knitting group for a while, but there is a group of local knitters who organise an event every year called 3 Bags Full. There's a wool market. I think it's the first Sunday in October, but I'll pop the link below. I can't check what date it is because it's on my phone and I'm filming on my phone. But after the wool market, I'm going to be at the wool market, by the way. And in the 2 weeks following the wool market, they normally do some woolly workshops. Different things, knitting, crochet, spinning, and some other stuff. As long as it's to do with wool, it's they're interested. So there are a variety of workshops on offer. I'm teaching 4 half-day workshops and 1 full-day workshop. The 1 full-day workshop is brioche cowls. So I'm teaching, well, you can choose between 3 of my brioche cowls, from very fairly easy if you're new to brioche and you've just starting to get the hang of the basic brioche rib, to a couple of more slightly more difficult ones if you want to challenge yourself a little bit more. And then I'm also doing a half a day brioche beginners workshop. I think I'm doing continental knitting, mosaic knitting, and I'm doing my Vespi stranded colorwork cowl. So I'm doing 4 half-day workshops and 1 full-day workshops, and I'll put the link to their website below. Make sure you sign up to my newsletter because that's where I announce all these details. And another thing, which I don't want to forget because I think I forgot to mention it last week, I think I actually decided after I filmed last week's podcast. So do make sure that you sign up to my newsletter, because sometimes I decide to do things after I film the podcast and it's in my newsletter, but it doesn't get mentioned on the podcast. And I do at the moment have a special offer on my patterns. So until the end of July, the deadline is actually set to finish on the 1st of August, because I normally set it to finish a day after I officially finish it, just to make sure that no time zones and stuff miss out, hopefully. But until the end of July, you can get 25% off all my patterns. The code is July 25. So July 25, all one word. I'll put all the details below. 25% off all my patterns on Ravelry and PayHip until the end of July. And you can buy as many patterns as you want, and you can use it as many times as you want. And I'm more than happy if you share that code with your friends. But do make sure you sign up to my newsletter, because if you are on my newsletter, you would have known this last Thursday. But I didn't know I was going to do that offer when I knew I was going to do a offer, but I didn't know when and exactly what that offer was going to be till I wrote last week's newsletter, and that was 2 days after, or a day or 2 after I recorded last week's podcast episode. So make sure you sign up to my newsletter. YarnAddict are also about to announce their workshop program for the show at the end of September. I can't remember the exact dates that YarnAddict is on. Hang on, is it on my wall here? Okay, so Yarndale is on 23rd and 24th of September. I have the contract for my workshop on the wall in front of me. So 23rd and 24th of September in Skipton in North Yorkshire. I'm teaching a workshop on 24th of September in the afternoon. I don't know if I'm allowed to say what it is, but this may be a little clue. It may have something to do with brioche, but I don't know if I'm allowed to reveal it yet. But I saw on Twitter earlier today, and I'm filming this on Thursday, so by the time this video is live, it might actually have been announced already. But I did see that they are going to announce the workshops in their next newsletter. So as soon as that newsletter comes out, I will add the details in my newsletter as well. So do make sure, or go and sign up to Yarndale's newsletter if you're planning to attend this year's show. But I will put the details in my newsletter as soon as it comes out. I'm hoping it'll come out before Thursday so I can get it in my newsletter this week. Okay, so let's get on with what I've been knitting. So you may remember last week, I think I'd finished this last week, I showed you this pouch that I'd finished and added the lining to. Had I added the lining last week? No, I don't think I had. I think I was doing it. I know I was doing it. No, I don't think I had added the lining last week. I think I'd finished it, but not added the lining. Or maybe, I can't remember. Anyway, just looking at my notebook to see if I had any notes about it, but it doesn't say what I did about this clutch last week. So this is a beaded clutch. I think I added the lining last Thursday because I was working on it when my father-in-law was here. And I think he was away the week before, so it must have been last week. I got some felt from a local sewing shop. She only had like squares of felt, and I did actually waste quite a bit of it because they weren't the right size. But she only had one colour of each, so I have used 3 different colours for this. But I'm a very basic sewer, and I decided I couldn't be bothered to get out my sewing machine. You can use cotton and some interfacing, but I may have some interfacing in a box at the far end of my shelving over there, but I couldn't be bothered to get it down and look for it. So I just got some felt because they're a lot thicker and less slippery than cotton. And then I hand sewed the lining together because I was too lazy to get my sewing machine out. And then I stitched it into the bag, and I think I finished it last Thursday when my father-in-law was here for dinner, because he commented on how much he liked the bag with these little sparkly beads. I decided when I was going to the knitting hotel on Friday to teach that I would use this as my project bag for the weekend because I wanted to get some feedback on it. I was thinking about using it as a workshop project from the autumn onwards. So I wanted to get a bit of feedback on it, whether people liked it, because you can't always tell on photos how it looks. So I wanted to see people who would see it in real life to give me some feedback. And most people were really keen on it, and somebody actually emailed me after the workshop to say thank you and how much she enjoyed it, and said she wants to knit this when it comes out. And several people said they were very keen on knitting it. So pattern will be out at some point, but it won't be till the autumn because I haven't written it yet, and there are 2 other patterns ahead of this one in the queue, and there will be a workshop on it, hopefully also in the autumn. Where I'll be teaching it, I will let you know in due course. So at the moment I have a project in there. So you may remember that I was talking last week, I think, about my Botanical Yarns Advent calendar, Yarn Advent from last year, and that I did have some plans for it. If I didn't talk about it last week, I definitely talked about it the week before, I think. I kind of been thinking for a while what I wanted to do with it, but I hadn't actually done anything about it yet, and I hadn't actually planned to do anything about it last week. But I needed a project to take with me to the knitting hotel. I finished another project which I'll talk about in a minute, and I only had socks on the needles, and I didn't want to knit socks all evening. So main knitting I would have at the knitting hotel would be the Friday evening, and I didn't really fancy knitting socks. And then I thought I might knit a bit in my room on Saturday morning before I started teaching. Then I would knit when I go home Saturday night, and I would probably be too tired on Sunday to think about casting on anything new. So I was keen to get a new project on the go before the weekend. So I grabbed the first few skeins on my Botanical Yarns advent calendar, and I charted out the lace pattern I was planning to use, and I cast on, and I just kept weighing the yarn to see how big a square I could knit with one 20-gram mini skein. So let me just grab the advent calendar, actually, because it's hanging up my wall there, so let me just grab it for a second. Right, this is stuck to my wall for a few months, well, since January, I think, with some safety pins, and every time I take it off, I manage to drop a safety pin on the wall. So I've now got quite a few safety pins behind my shelf unit that my camera's on. But this is my advent calendar. This is the whole advent calendar except the first 6 days. So the advent calendar consisted of 6-day fades. So each group of 6 days would start with a darker color, and then it would get gradually lighter. So the first week was this color, followed by this color. These have been blocked, by the way. Followed by this color. So notice how nice and pretty those lacy squares look. Followed by this color, which has not been blocked. So, and then it is this color, which is in progress, and then it's that color. So I have nearly finished the 5th color, and I have to knit the 6th color. So let's talk about the size of these. So these use, I think, about 17 grams. I wanted to use max 18 grams because I want to have a little bit of safety margin. I think about 17 grams, but I need to weigh them again. And I blocked 3 of them yesterday because I wanted them to be blocked for this video, and you can see how beautiful and lacy they look. I stretched them out to 30 by 30 centimeters, but once I unpinned them, they shrunk back to about 27 by 27 centimeters. Now this measures, I think, 19 by 19 centimeters. I think that's right. So it grows quite a lot. So if I hold these up together, can you see the difference in size? And the difference in look. I mean, look at that. If I gave you that and said, doesn't that look great? Isn't this going to be pretty? You would go, really? And then I show you one of these, and I mean, you may not like it, of course, or you may not be into lace, but even if you're not into lace, most people would agree that that looks beautiful. Certainly looks a lot better than that. So yeah, blocking makes a big difference. I put a post up on Instagram and Twitter and various places this morning saying, look at the difference that blocking makes. I hear some people saying they don't like blocking and they can't even be bothered to block lace most of the time. Well, in my opinion, it makes a big difference, and I appreciate that some people may struggle with blocking because of disabilities and health restrictions, and I quite appreciate that because I also find blocking very difficult at times. I can't block on the floor anymore because of the chronic pain I suffer from and arthritis in my knees and stuff like that. So I have to block everything on my dining room table, and that's not always that easy if it's something big. So I do get that, I honestly do, but it makes such a difference. So I blocked those 3, and I'm really pleased with them. I worked out, so if I'll have 24 squares in total. So they measure 27 each. So if I do, hang on, 24 divided by 4. So if I do 4 by 6, that's, oh no, that's not right. Yes, that's 24. So 4 wide multiplied by 27 centimeters. And I'll probably lose a tiny bit. So that's 108 centimeters wide. Is that right? Yes. If I do 3, it would be 81 centimeters wide, which would probably be enough actually. So if I then do 8 lengthwise, that would be 216 centimeters long. So that would be quite a decent sized shawl. I was thinking a blanket. I'm not sure that's big enough for a blanket. I think I have to finish all the squares and block them together before I can visualize it. I do have some light grey sock yarn in a similar blend that I was thinking about using it to make some extra squares to make it a bigger blanket. But these are very, very light and fine, if you like. It's a 4-ply yarn, but they're very light and fine and open. I don't know whether it'll be suitable for a blanket. So I don't know whether to do a shawl or a blanket. I haven't decided yet. I also don't know what to do about the colours. So I dropped my advent calendar on the floor, so let me just pick it up. The thing I didn't like about this advent calendar was that it started with these blues. Perfect, I really like that. And then I think it went into this fade next. Love those. I opened those 6 days and I thought, yep, perfect. Love those colours. Goes from quite a dark purple to like a pale pink. Love those. Perfect. And then he went into these 6 colours, like a kind of burgundy through to like a pale burgundy pink. I would call it like a very pale dusky pink, really. Less keen on those. And then I opened it last week and it was, hang on, this group of 6, like that, which it feels like that is almost the same as that. So the first day of the last 6 is almost the same as day 3 of the second 6. And this last one is lighter than the last one in the second 6, but I don't know, it basically felt like this group of 6 and this group of 6 is very, very similar. So I was a little bit disappointed because there's a big contrast between the blues and all the rest of the colours. And decided I wasn't sure what I was going to do. I thought about taking out this group and that group and using them for something, because that would be 6, 12 times 20, 240 grams. Is that right? I think so. I may be mixing in the blues with that, but I wasn't sure what to do. But I have decided to do something with all the squares. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to knit up all the squares and block them, but I don't know how I'm going to combine them. So I thought I will knit them all up, block them all, and then decide how I'm going to combine them, whether it will become a shawl or a blanket. But basically I'd like a pattern that could be customized to anything from a cushion cover to a blanket, depending on how many squares you combine. And it could also be customized to use different yarn weights. So my goal is to finish this over the summer and release this pattern probably by the end of October or sometime in November, so that it will be ready for Advent knitting season 2023. So that is my plan. But yeah, I didn't want to start using it for all because I liked 3 of the 4 color fades, if you like. This one is the one I didn't like, the one in the middle. But we'll see. But I did want to do something with it because, you know, I did buy it. I wasn't given it, so I did buy it. So I did want to do something with it. And I did consider getting some other mini skeins to add to it, but because these are very definite fades, I thought if I add other sets of mini skeins, it may not be the same color progression. So if I do add anything else to it, it would be like a solid light grey color, because I have some skeins that I bought for something else that I could use for that. So that is what I cast on, ready to take with me to the knitting hotel. Last weekend I knitted on it Friday night, Saturday night when I came home, and quite a lot on Sunday. I also did a lot of swatching on Sunday. Probably did more swatching on Sunday than I did knitting on that. And then I knitted on it quite a lot yesterday. So I am going to probably put that on hold or have it as a kind of extra project. I have another project that I want to get started on. I've knitted a swatch. Where did my swatch go? I'll show you the swatch because I actually changed it because I wasn't happy with the swatch. So I knitted a swatch last night and blocked it. I'm happy. Oh, I'm actually happier with it looking at it in the screen than I was. I'm happy with both stitch patterns, but I don't think they work together. So I've actually changed the pattern this morning, and I'm going to cast on probably after lunch today. I did finish something else. So last week, I was definitely working on this last week. I finished this last Thursday, I think. And that's why I decided I needed something else to knit on at a knitting hotel. So, or did I finish this before I filmed last week? I don't know, I've just said I keep notes in a notebook what I talk about in each podcast, but I just put colour work clutch. I didn't say whether I finished it or not, but I did sew the frame on Sunday or yesterday. Nothing was yesterday. I sewed the frame on. So I pressed it yesterday and sewed the frame on, and I haven't lined it yet. So it's another clutch, but this time it's a colour work clutch. Love those colours together. The base is just plain, so I've sewn the frame on. I did a contrast colour up here, mainly because I was running out of the pink. I meant to weigh it before I attached the frame and I forgot, which is a bit annoying because I wanted to work out. I wasn't sure that my pink skein was like 100 grams, 50 grams skein, or whether it was a partial 50 grams skein. But I haven't lined it yet. Don't you just love the wrong side of colour work? Look how neat it looks. I haven't lined it yet because I don't have any more felt, but I have ordered some. Instead of getting it from the local craft shop where they only sell squares, and she didn't have that many left when I was in there a couple of weeks ago, I've actually ordered it online, and I've ordered a slightly larger amount in 2 different colours. So as soon as that comes, which will hopefully be before the weekend, I will line this. Maybe I'll do it over the weekend because I don't think we're doing much this weekend. I don't have any workshops now till September, and although that fills me with a slight kind of, am I going to do all of August? I'm also kind of looking forward to not teaching for a few weeks. So I'm going to enjoy the rest of July and August, and I've got loads of work to do. Then I'm going to Norway for 2 weeks, and then 2 days after I come back from Norway, I'm teaching again. That workshop is not on my website yet because it's going to be a spinny yarn, but I don't know what we're doing yet, because Trish Dion is waiting to hear from me about some new workshop topics that I will be launching this autumn. So sign up for my newsletter and you'll be the first to find out. So those are the 2 clutches. Have I worked on anything else? I haven't worked on my socks because I took them with me to the knitting hotel. I took my sock with me to the knitting hotel, but I didn't work on it, and I haven't worked on it at home. I'm going to Plymouth later this week, so I might take it with me then in case I go and sit in a coffee shop and knit for a little bit. There's a couple of films coming up at the cinema that we want to see, so I might try and finish the first one because I don't have that much left, and cast on the second one and get the rib done. So if you do decide to go to the cinema this weekend, I have that ready. I have to work on a design submission again this week, I think, and I'm casting on for this project, which I deliberately haven't told you what it's going to be, but I need to cast on that this week. So yeah, I've got a lot of stuff to do, but I don't know how much more progress I'll make on this for now. By the way, I am timing myself for how long one of these squares take. I only started today. I haven't been sleeping very well lately, and I slept a bit better for the last few nights, but I was awake again last night, and I got up for a couple of hours in the middle of the night, and I cast on for a new square, the one I'm currently working on. I cast on for that at 1:30 this morning, and I did start to time myself because I want to know how long a square takes. So far, this square, which is nearly finished, I have 1.5 round left to knit, and then I got to cast off. I have, I think, some like 150 something stitches, or not a lot, but it's taken me an hour and 50 minutes so far, so I reckon about another 10 minutes maybe to finish the next round and a half, and then maybe 10 minutes to cast off. So I reckon it'll be just over 2 hours. I will time myself for the next one as well, just to see if I get a similar kind of time. I will probably, once I've cast this off, I'll probably wind the yarn and start the next one straight away so that it is ready to knit on whenever I feel like it. But I'm then going to cast that on project for that and focus on that for the next few days, because I do need to try and finish this by the end of next week, because it is going to be a project for a new workshop in the autumn, and I have promised Trish from Spinning Yarn that I will have my new list of workshops ready by the end of July, and that is going to be one of the workshops on my new workshop list. So I'm keep using this as a project bag for now. I wanted to see how this yarn wears. So this yarn is, let me just grab a ball. It is Yataghan, which is which means heart yarn in Danish and Norwegian. It is a Danish yarn. YarnAddict, it is a extra fine merino cotton, 50% superwash wool and 50% cotton. It is incredibly soft, has beautiful drape. Because it has cotton in it, it is maybe just a teeny tiny bit splitty, but split is that what it's called? But cotton yarns usually are. But it's really nice and soft to knit with, and it's what I knitted this clutch in and the other clutch. At the moment I've only got 4 colours. That one, pink, yellow and green. I have ordered some more, but I haven't heard from my supplier whether he's got them in stock or not, so I'm assuming that means he doesn't. So I might wait till next week and see if I hear anything and then chase it up, because I would like to use it for something else, but I would like to use another colour. But it is yarn that I bought in time for Wonderwool in April, but I didn't sell it at Wonderwool because I wanted to see what it was like before I started selling it. And so far I'm really enjoying knitting with it. It's lovely to knit with. It's so soft. I am maybe going to knit up 1 or 2 of my brioche cows in it in time for YarnAddict, because it is an alternative to the Manos Uruguay silk blend that I knitted my brioche cows in, which, because that yarn is a little bit more expensive, so if people want more of a budget yarn, I can't remember how much the YarnAddict retails for, but it is a lot cheaper and it is really nice. But I want to see how it wears, so I thought if I use this as a project bag, because that means I'll be carrying it around, like this was in and out of my weekend bag and things like that. It was handled by quite a few people at the workshop because people wanted to look at it. I shoved it in my handbag on Saturday night when I went back over to the knitting hotel from where I was staying across the road from them. So it's been carried around a bit and I want to see how it wears, and so far it's perfect. I expected to get a little bit kind of what's it called? Pilled. That's it. I'm expecting it to pill a little bit here because that's the bit that you kind of open and close and handle the most. But so far it's pretty good, so I'm pretty impressed with it. So I'm going to keep that project in there for the time being. It's a perfect size. I didn't make this as a project bag. I can see myself using it as a little handbag, or as a bag to put in a bigger bag when I travel, for example. But I thought for the time being I'll use it as a project bag, because that means I'll be using it every day and it'll be handled and thrown around a bit, and that means I can test out what this yarn is like and the wear and tear for this yarn is like. That's it for today, I think. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed yet, please consider subscribing. Make sure you sign up to my newsletter. Leave me a comment. Tell me what's on your needles at the moment. And are you interested in like a advent calendar type pattern like this? Have you ordered an advent calendar yet for this year? I have ordered mine. I talked about it a few weeks ago. I'm going to try just to stick to getting one this year, although I am tempted to get a DK one. I've got a 4-ply kind of sock yarn one. I got 2.5 4-ply sock yarn ones last year. I am tempted to get a DK one if I see one, but I haven't seen one yet that I like that is in DK. So if you know a one that's being sold at the moment that's DK in the UK, let me know. I will not order from abroad because of customs fees and shipping, so it has to be in the UK. Thank you very much for watching. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you next time.